They buried her alive to protect their secret. And years later, she came back. They buried her before the moon reached its highest point. Not with songs. Not with prayers. But with shaking hands and frightened eyes, as if the earth itself might rise up and accuse them if they waited too long. Her name was Zara. The village would later say it was an accident. They would whisper that the ground near the forest edge was unstable, that the rain had weakened the soil, that no one could have known she would fall. But Zara remembered the truth clearly, the rope around her wrists, the way her feet dragged against the dirt, the silence that followed her screams. She remembered the faces. Some looked away. Some cried quietly. Some watched with relief. And the elders watched without expression. When they lowered her into the pit, the smell of damp earth filled her nose. She begged them to stop. She promised to leave the village forever. She swore she would never speak of what she had seen. Zara, the oldest among them, raised his hand. "It must be done," he said. "For the village to remain." The first shovel of soil struck her chest. The second hit her face. Panic tore through her as the weight of the earth pressed down, stealing her breath. Her screams turned into muffled cries, then into desperate gasps, then into silence as the darkness closed in. The world ended underground. Zara clawed at the soil until her fingers bled. Dirt filled her mouth. Her lungs burned. Her thoughts scattered like frightened birds. In those final moments, she felt something deeper than fear. Betrayal. When her body finally stilled, the village covered the pit completely and walked away. Torches were extinguished. Footsteps faded. Night swallowed the clearing. They believed she was dead. But the forest did not agree. Beneath the soil, roots began to move, not violently, not suddenly, but with intention. The ground softened. The pressure around her chest eased. Cool air brushed her skin. Zara coughed, choking as dirt slid away from her face. Something unseen pulled her upward. She broke through the earth just beyond the pit, gasping beneath the trees. Her body trembled uncontrollably as she lay on the forest floor, alive in a way that felt impossible. Blood stained her clothes. Her limbs ached. Her heart thundered like it might tear itself free. When she opened her eyes, she was not alone. The forest stood still, watching. The wind whispered her name, though no mouth spoke it. Shadows leaned closer. The trees creaked as though stretching after a long sleep. Zara felt their presence press against her thoughts, searching, remembering. They showed her things. Girls before her, dragged, silenced, buried in different corners of the land. Some were accused. Some were blamed. Some were simply chosen. All were forgotten. This is how it has always been, the forest murmured. This is how they survive. Zara wept, not just for herself, but for the names that had been erased, for the lives folded into the soil beneath the village. When the whispers faded, she knew she could never return the same. So she didn't return at all. She disappeared into the forest. Seasons passed. Her wounds healed. Her body grew strong again. She learned the paths no villager dared to walk, the language of birds, the warning signs in the wind. The forest did not claim her, it shaped her. Meanwhile, the village slept easier. They told themselves the ground had swallowed her whole. They spoke her name less and less, until it became a shadow of a sound. Children grew up without knowing who Zara was. The elders reminded one another that sacrifices were necessary. But the earth remembers. Years later, on a night wrapped in mist, Zara returned. The drums had begun for the harvest festival, slow, rhythmic, celebratory. Laughter drifted through the air. Fires burned bright. Then someone screamed. Zara stood at the edge of the village, her silhouette cutting through the fog. She wore the same scars they had given her. Her hair fell loose down her back. Her eyes held something old and unyielding. The drums faltered. Mama spread like fire through dry grass. It's her. That's impossible. She's dead. Zara dropped his staff. You are dead, he whispered, his voice cracking. Zara stepped forward. The ground beneath her feet felt solid, steady. So you decided, she replied. Fear gripped the village. Mothers pulled children behind them. Men clutched charms and amulets that suddenly felt weak. No one moved to touch her. Zara began to speak. She spoke of the pit, of the rope, of the silence that followed her burial. She spoke of the forest and what it had shown her, the pact made generations ago, the lies layered carefully over bones, the truth buried deeper each time someone asked questions. With every word, the wind grew louder. The fires flickered. The drums fell silent on their own. Memories returned. Villagers cried out as faces they had forgotten resurfaced in their minds. Names long erased echoed through the square. The earth beneath their feet trembled, just slightly, as if listening. Mzikero fell to his knees. We did it to survive, he pleaded. The forest demanded it. Zara looked at him, her expression calm. And so did the forest spare me. She turned away from him and faced the village. I did not return for revenge alone, she said. I returned so the truth would never be buried again. The ground opened beneath Mzikaro's feet, not violently, not cruelly, but deliberately. The earth held him there, waist deep, trembling, alive. The village watched, unable to look away. Zara did not stay to see what became of him. She walked back toward the forest as dawn crept across the sky. Behind her, the village stood changed, shaken, awake to what it had done. As the mist swallowed her form, the wind whispered once more. Because some truths, once unearthed, do not rest quietly. And the forest is still watching. If you enjoy folktales, you can subscribe for more.